So I'm going to do a countdown. We'll just edit this later. Three, two, one. So hello everybody, and welcome to my show today, Living the Journey. I have Betzy Rodas here on with me today, and I am your host, Hayya Lee-McDonald. So this show is all about entrepreneurship, real estate, and the journey in between. So Betsy is a fellow investor, and she's also a mom, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have her on the show here. So Betsy, wanted to give everyone a little bit of background on who you are. I mean, people see you've got your podcast, etc. But who is Betsy?
Yeah, well, a little bit about me. I am I struggled a lot during my, start of my life and into adulthood. I knew that I wanted to do something bigger and help the community, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like. I always wanted to invest in real estate, but I really didn't really know that you could invest in real estate having no money. So I really found this amazing mentor. His name is Pace Morby, and I was able to open my mind up to so many possibilities and create new partnerships. Creating partnerships is what enabled me to be where I am right now, and it's been such an amazing journey in real estate and in life to be able to
Mm-hmm.
share what I know to other people. So that's why I have my podcast about I specialize in raising capital specifically in real estate, um, but also business too. And I do that podcast with my co-host Kalisha Carter, and I just started a new podcast talking about being a parent and like the juggles of life and being successful as an entrepreneur, but also in life, because a lot of our whys, like
Mm-hmm.
personally, a lot of our whys is like related to our families and like what
Right.
type of legacy we're trying to leave our family. And it's really important not to leave them behind while you're also trying to get, while you're hustling and bustling. It's really hard to be able to balance both. So I started this podcast first for me so I could learn how to manage my time better and what strategies other people are utilizing so I can use it too. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and that's key too because so when I had my coaching business, so I'm actually a certified life coach, and one of the things that my trainers and mentors said is we coach what we need to learn.
yeah.
So this podcast that you're starting, it's like, okay, I'm going to have guests on. I'm going to talk about topics that I'm still trying to figure out. And a lot of times that's how we get the answers. And I think that's also something that PACE teaches,
Mhm.
teach so that it sticks with you better. Teach what you need to learn, basically.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And that's something that
yeah.
I found using my other podcast, the Raising Capital podcast, being able to talk to other entrepreneurs and see what they do, what strategies they use, and how they raise capital, and how they partner up with other people to be able to use their funds to be able to buy a bunch of properties or just help the community. It's been an amazing experience, and I've learned so much just with that. I was like, I
Mhm.
want to replicate that, but for my life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, totally. I really resonate with what you shared about trying to figure out what it is you wanted to do in life, and then also how do I get into real estate investing with no money? Before we dive into the real estate part, I want to go back to what you said about struggle. Tell us a little bit more about that struggle without, giving up all your private stuff. Tell us a little bit more about what that struggle was.
No, but I don't mind getting into it. I had kids when I was really young. I had my first son with my husband when I was 16. So,
Hmm.
I was one of those teen moms, and it was really hard at the beginning because my parents weren't really supportive. Um, but my husband and I, we stuck together and we just like made it happen and hurdles. We decided that our focus was going to be our children. So I stayed at home. I did finish high school, but I stayed at home. I went to college for a little bit, but I really like was the go-to person for my kids. I
Hmm.
raised them. I was with them the whole time that they were babies. They're older now, so I get to do other stuff. But like I really
Hmm.
was like kid focused 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know how they say when they're little, if one person works, that their income would just be for paying daycare. So it didn't make sense for what we wanted and how we wanted to live our
Yeah.
lives. But
Daycare is
it
not
did,
cheap.
yeah. it took a lot of sacrifice
Yeah.
for me that I had to like give up on starting a career, and for my husband that he spends so much time out of the house trying to make make it income for us to be able to
Hmm.
as a solo income earner for the household.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a challenge. I would say that, in the journey of life and in the journey of entrepreneurship, I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to hit it big or, life is just going to be, or it's supposed to be this even keeled thing that's just smooth. And just, I've discovered that's just not the way it goes. But that's also, I think, the blessing of life because
Very
I
true.
always tell people I learn so much more from the mistakes and the mess ups and the hiccups and all that stuff. There's so many lessons that come out of that.
Mhm.
Um, so some people might think, and especially some women who are listening who are stay at home moms or they've given up their career to raise their kids, they may think that it puts them at a disadvantage. As a mom, I believe that being a mom is one of the hardest and most skilled jobs in the world. Like, there's nothing else you can do. You're raising an entire person to be able to operate in this world. You have to come up with
Yeah.
systems and plans, negotiate. There's a whole lot. There are a lot of skills that you need. So,
You dip into, like, everything, right? You're like a
yeah.
planner financially, but then also, like, an event planner and, like, projects because you have to make sure that they get their stuff done for school on time,
Hmm.
or if you're, like, navigating the whole life at home, it's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, well, the
Hmm.
husband gets home at this time, so we're gonna be able to do this family event at this time, and I have to make sure the kids get ready, and they take a little bit longer, so they have to get out of the house by this time." And, like,
Hmm.
everything just every single little detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult. I think it's really difficult if you don't have a village, people to support
Hmm.
you, people to, be like, "Oh, hey, I see you're really tired," or like, "Hey, do you want a day off? I can take care of the kids." Like, no worries.
Yeah.
But,
Though that's a blessing if you have a
yeah, it's
village.
a blessing, but it's
Yeah, for
difficult
sure.
when you really don't, and when
Hmm.
you're also like, "Oh, well, I can't pay someone to do it," because, like,
Hmm.
all our resources are going into, like, being able to live.
Yeah, yeah. Now, looking back at that time and looking at where you are now, and for those moms who are listening, or even the single dads, or stay-at-home dads who are listening and thinking, oh, I'm going to be at such a disadvantage. What are the skills and the things you learned from being a mom and raising your kids well that you've now brought into your business?
I think, just, um, coming with value first. So I when I entered, the real estate stuff, people would be like, "Well, come at me with value first, like bring value, bring value, bring value." And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like that was a big thing for me at the beginning. I was like, I don't know how I can bring value. Like I've been a stay-at-home mom forever. Um,
Mhm.
done some odd jobs. I know a couple of things, but like right now, my only thing is time. I have extra time since my kids are in school. But
Mhm.
I think it's really important to be able to like go up to you and tell you, "Hey, like, I have these opportunities." And that's what I do, right? Like, that's where I'm
Mhm.
focused in real estate. I have these opportunities. I'm bringing you another option for you to invest, where you would make greater returns than you would at home, just sitting at home
Mhm.
or just having it in a CD or a retirement account. I'm bringing you another option, and I'm a person that you can trust, right? I'm bringing that trust and
Mhm.
relationship right, at the beginning. So, like, that's
Mhm.
my focus, and I feel like, raising my kids has really helped me, be a part of the community and see people, not
Mhm.
just, at face value, but also, like, their struggles and, like, what they're going through and their goals and their dreams, and
Mhm.
I wanna help them make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's wonderful what you do, and there are so many things. I mean, we could probably talk all day about all the transferable skills from being a parent,
Yeah,
to being in
that's
business.
so
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you because when you're raising a kid, especially a little person who can't yet talk, you have to you find it within yourself. First of all, you have to find the patience within yourself to be able to extract what it that's going on with that little person, and then translate it into a solution. And so now imagine you're talking to an adult and you're raising capital. They can talk. So now you can bring the skills that you use to elicit responses and feedback from your kid to now apply
Yeah.
it to an adult and raising
Yeah.
capital.
And
So
there's a lot of
that's just one thing I
also
can think of. But go ahead,
there's
Betsy.
a lot of people that actually don't know what they want. They just know what it looks like.
Hmm.
They see how they know how it looks like at the end, like how they want to be, but they don't know how to get there. Like if I ask them, "Hey, like
Hmm.
what interest are you looking for? Are you okay with being on second position? Are you like do you want to be an equity partner? Do you prefer just interest? Do you just want to like grow your funds or do you want it to be tax free?" Like there's so many options like to be able
Hmm.
like there's so many options like how you can invest in real estate, and there's different ways that you can go about doing that, but
Right.
and so a lot of people don't know what how to go about it, and a lot of it is like oh telling them that
Hmm.
it's okay not to know, like it's okay not to know that we can explore different options and just dip into different types of real estate or different types of things that you could do or explore and see if you like it. If not, we can move on. I mean, you don't lose anything, you just gain more knowledge. And it's a really awesome experience to be able to see someone grow from that.
Hmm.
And that's the same with kids, right? You see them grow,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, it's okay not to know, and just walk them through the steps of life and what you've learned so far.
Hmm. Right. Awesome. So now, before as we transition into talking about more about real estate and private capital, what would you say to that mom or dad who stay at home right now and asking themselves the same question that you had? Well, what I don't know what I have to bring. I've been out of the workforce. What would you say to them to get them to realize the value that they hold and that they can bring?
I think taking action. I would tell you guys just take action. Um, See what you guys like. Not everything that you start with is going to be something that you like, but getting experience in that place where you want to actually learn and explore and be a professional, and you can just find different avenues that you're like, oh, this doesn't work for me, but it's okay, I'll try something else, but it's in the same like subject. Like with real estate, there's so many things that you can do. You don't actually have to um be stuck doing one thing. You can explore and do paperwork or anything. Like I started in acquisitions and I didn't love it. It was awful. Like I'd get like so nervous talking to people, but well, the sellers specifically, because I can talk to lenders all day. But yeah, it was like informed action all the time, and like, well, yeah, I didn't love it, but I was still doing it, and I learned how to underwrite, and I learned how to see if it's a good deal or a bad deal. um take a look at my numbers, different calculators, created partnerships, and just
Hmm.
relationships all the time. Really, it's so important to create network, like network all the time.
Hmm.
It You don't know how valuable it is to be able to grab your phone and like call someone when you're struggling and them have a solution for you or guide you through a solution. It's I think it's the craziest, amazing thing that there is, that you can actually count on someone else to be able to help you get that leg up that you've been needing.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was a
Awesome.
long answer.
Okay. No, that's cool. We could probably have this interview going for much longer than we will be talking, but I think there's a lot of value in what you're sharing as well. And by the way, I know you could talk to lenders all day, and I could probably talk to sellers all day. So we should probably do some work together, collaborate. So now you've talked about what you're doing now in private capital. When did you realize that, hey, acquisitions isn't for me, and I want to do more raising private capital? What was it that helped you realize that?
Well, I always kind of knew acquisition wasn't what I wanted. Well, I didn't want to wholesale. I was like, I knew from the beginning I didn't want to be wholesaling. I didn't want to do my own wholesaling business. I just didn't love it. It wasn't something that was like caught my attention. I want to buy and hold properties. I want to be an investor who's passive, who's like passively, because we can get into that,
Mhm. Mhm.
earning every
Mhm.
month from the properties that I own. And that's just where I would want to be personally. And I knew that from the beginning, but it was something that came like it was an open door, and I took it. I took it and I
Mhm.
learned and I grew with these amazing people. and we just kind of started raising. We kind of were like, hey, let's just buy a property together because we're doing these deals together. So let's just take the next step. And when we started to look for properties, we got a really good deal on a fourplex, and that's when I realized like how we need money. So I
Mhm.
literally like texted everyone that I knew that might be lending or interested in lending, like not in my family. It was strictly in sub two, honestly. And yeah, I met some amazing people. I like put myself out there a lot. Like, hey, honestly, it was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I'm trying to raise capital. I have this amazing deal. Who wants to partner up? And that's when I started meeting people and talking to people and
Mhm.
actually raising capital. And it's
Mhm.
just been, uphill from there.
Yeah. Well, when we talked earlier, I was really impressed about the length of your journey. So tell everybody who's listening, when did you actually start on this journey, and what are some like quantifiable things that you've accomplished since starting?
Yeah, well, I actually started a little over a year ago now. I started in at the end of June of 2022. And ever since then, I can't, I'm not a person who like likes to sit on my hands, and I like to take action. So I started calling sellers. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is what they're telling me to do. So I'm just gonna see what comes up. And
Mhm.
I got actually a property on eBay. Found a motivated seller. The call was horrible. I didn't even ask them for their name. Like, no idea. But I knew they were motivated and they were ready to go, like ready to jump on that. That was something that they were like, yeah, let's let's talk about numbers. And I was like, I don't know numbers. I don't know. But I was like, hey, let
The
me just
important thing is action, right?
yeah, I was like, "Oh, let me just talk to my partner and I'll have them give you a call because they're more experienced. They have all the answers you're looking for." So I connected them with someone who I had just connected it to sub two. I don't know if you know her. Her name's Autumn Alexander. She's a sub two
No,
leader in
never.
Florida,
Mhm.
and she's just such an amazing, kind person. And
Mhm.
I was like, "Hey, here's this motivated summer. I don't know what to do with it." And
Yeah.
she had a team then, and her team closed it, and that was actually my first deal. I got paid on it like 3 months later because, the wholesaling thing where you have to, like, actually acquire it and then sell it, right? So we
Mhm.
sold it
Mhm.
to a homestead buyer, and, yeah, I got paid like 3 months later, but that's how I learned that, hey, like, it takes time. It's not gonna be, like, get rich quick.
Mhm.
I knew that, but it was, like, an experience.
Yeah. The first one is definitely always an experience for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's when I joined. I mean, I right after I joined their acquisitions team, and um I started calling sellers, which I it really was, more day some days were worse than others, definitely. I had some great conversations. I closed some deals because I can't say I didn't, right? I did
Mhm.
close some people, I did negotiate, and we made it happen, but it just for me, it just felt like I didn't see the point because it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was like, how is this going to get me property? Like, we're not
Mhm.
even looking in the markets where I want to buy.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah,
And
yeah,
speaking of markets where you want to buy, where do you want to buy so that anybody listening can bring you deals? You guys see her IG handle on the screen. Where do you want to buy? Where do you do deals?
yeah. Well, I love buying in my backyard. Right now, I'm like aggressively looking for creative deals here in my backyard. So Georgia, I'm in Georgia. Anything like north of
Mhm.
Atlanta, I will definitely look at it. Seriously, like I'll take more risk because it's here and I know the market better. Tennessee, I'm looking
Mhm.
at Charlotte and Florida. These are my like
Okay.
main markets that I'm like, yes, I will buy there. Other
Okay.
markets, I will partner up with you and see if we can raise the capital and make your deal happen.
Awesome. So now in these markets, are you just looking for multi-units or single families or combination? What are you looking for?
Yeah, like anything residential that's four doors or down. So
Mhm.
single families and four doors or down.
Awesome. Now, somebody
And
listening
land
here,
actually. And
what
and
was
land.
that?
I'm developing. I'm trying to become a developer with my husband. So we're also
Mhm.
looking for acquiring land creatively.
Yeah. Well, see,
Mhm.
that's a whole other show, working with your
Yeah,
spouse. So, yeah, I also work with my spouse. That's a whole other topic, which is great. Lots of great things about it. It takes a lot of work as well. But that's awesome. I think that you're working with your husband. So
yeah.
as we wrap up, I mean, what if someone is listening to you and they're looking at you and like they're wow, Betsy's done so much in such a short time. I don't have that kind of drive or whatever they might be telling themselves. Um, yes, there are a lot of areas in real estate that someone can start, but if you had to tell someone right now just the thing to get them moving, how would to close it out, what would you tell
I would say just find people who are where you want to be. That's
them?
something that I'm looking at too right now. Looking at the people where their life looks like how I want my life to look like, and just becoming best friends with them.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
honestly, I think it's really important to surround yourself with people what how that live the kind of lifestyle you want to live for you and for your family. And that's another goal that I have, and that's another reason why I'm starting my podcast about parenthood,
Mhm.
is what I'm calling it. But
Mhm.
um, just surround yourself with people and make yourself uncomfortable. I think it's really important to get out of your comfort zone and just like do the thing
Mhm.
that scares you. Do it.
Mhm.
One of my mentors, his name's Keston Glasgow, he said that once and it stuck with me.
Mhm.
Do it scared, because
Yeah.
that was at a time where I was finding a lot of success in raising capital and finding deals for these people, for our lenders, and it was just like going uphill very quickly, like super
Mhm.
quickly. And I was like kind of like overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And he's like, "Are you afraid?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, it's so scary. What if something goes wrong?" And he's like, "Just do it scared." So
Yeah.
um, that
Yeah.
is very important. Just I taking risks are scary. Taking informed risks with friends still scary.
Mhm.
Investments scary, but super
Mhm.
important to just take a step out, take a leap of faith, know and trust yourself, and
Mhm.
do it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's awesome advice. One of my mentors too also said to me years ago, if your goal doesn't scare you, it's not big enough.
Yeah,
If you're doing something in the safe zone, well, you don't grow in the safe zone. So I love the other flip side of what you're saying there. So thank
yeah.
you for sharing that, Betsy. So for people who now want to get in touch with you, they see your IG handle on there. Um, how do they connect with you more deeply?
Yeah, well, I have my website. It's betsyrodas.com. You can find me there. You can also find me on my socials. My Instagram handle is at underscore Betzy Rodas, or you can find me on Facebook. I will try to answer all my messages, you guys. Just come with value, I would say. I do get
Mm-hmm.
like messages that it's like people is just like, "Oh, I need money," or "I need this," and I'm just like, "Okay, I understand and I want to help because that's how I want to come." But also, like, I don't have details. I don't have. I kind of want to get to know you first. Relationship first, always.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't you just love those messages you get in your direct message that just say hello and you're like, okay, well, what can I do for you? What's the
Yeah,
question? Or can I ask you a question? Okay, well, what's the question? So just, yes, come with value and know what it is you want to ask or say.
yeah, or just say
There's,
hi. Just say it's like, "Hey, like, how's it going?" I will
yeah.
answer those messages like, "Hey,"
Hmm.
or "Hey, I'm doing this, and this is my name, and this is what I'm doing, and we're part of these groups together if you are." Uh, I started doing this thing where everybody who sends me a friend request, if I add them, I will send them a message like directly. I'll just be
Hmm.
like, "Hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm looking for. How can we help each
Hmm.
other?" Because I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, if we're gonna be friends, we're gonna be doing stuff. Like I'm gonna be seeing your family. I'm gonna be able to see like the stuff that you're doing, which I love. I really enjoy that
yeah,
about social
yeah,
media. I really want to see, um, I want to see how we can work together, how we can help each other build wealth. Like, that's like a really like a big pet peeve of mine. I want to build wealth together, and I want to see how
yeah,
we can do that. Um, you know, pace preaches it all the time. I think that's one of his biggest things, to be able to help each other out and like go back and like pick, like, okay, you got some success, go back and like pick somebody else up, help someone else.
To bring up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So
Yeah.
please, definitely, I'd love to connect with you. Just keep that in mind.
Awesome. And I'm going to borrow that strategy you just shared. I love that when you connect with someone on Facebook to immediately send them messages. I love that. So that's
Yeah,
great.
immediately. I
Well,
actually take like 30, 40 minutes out of my day to do that. And I don't do it I try to
yeah.
do it every day, but some days are really hectic, especially with kids. And right now they're at
Hmm.
the age where they're doing so much things at school and like sports. And I'm just like, oh goodness, managing
Yeah.
time.
You need an assistant to help with the greeting hello messages.
I need like two assistants right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that later too. We've done a lot of that over the last 13 years, so definitely we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Um, Awesome. Well, Betzy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It was a joy hearing from you and talking with you again, and I'm looking forward to doing business together. So, guys, thank you for joining. I am Hayya Lee-McDonald. You can follow me on my IG handle, Hayya Living, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.